You were born with three things that no one can ever buy back for you: time, energy, and attention. Nobody told you that from the very first day you stepped into adulthood, there was already a system waiting to take them one by one before you even noticed it was happening. There is a system that runs every single day, and it has one job: to keep you moving. Now, life does move forward through motion. That's true. But so many of us keep moving without knowing where we're going or why. And without realizing it, we end up trapped inside a wheel, walking, but going nowhere. You've probably felt this. You wake up in the morning, and you're already tired. You go to sleep at night, and you're still tired. And somewhere in between, you quietly ask yourself, is this just who I am now? Or is something out there actually broken? Here's something most people don't want to admit. Today, distraction is not an accident. Distraction is a product. Every app you open, every notification that comes through, every piece of content that appears before you even choose to look, none of that is random. All of it is designed to take the one thing that matters most from you: your attention. And when your attention is gone, your energy follows. And when your energy is gone, your time just slips away without ever really being yours. A researcher named David Graeber once studied something uncomfortable. He found that nearly 40% of workers privately believed their job had no real impact on the world. Not lazy people, not ungrateful people, people who showed up every single day, did the work, and came home feeling empty. Exhaustion from hard work? You can recover from that. But exhaustion from a life without direction? That one follows you home. And it's still there when you wake up. So, let's be honest about what's actually going on. There are three mechanisms built into the systems around you, designed to keep you moving, not forward, just moving. The first one, manufactured urgency. Imagine you finally sit down. You're ready. The most important thing you need to do today is right there in front of you. Your focus starts to build. Your mind starts to clear. And then, one sound. A message from a friend. Hey, got a minute? You open it. You read it. You reply. 3 minutes. Doesn't feel like much, right? But the focus you spent 20 minutes building is already gone. And now, you have to start all over again. Then the next one arrives. A collaboration offer that feels too good to ignore. A new business idea from an old friend. A news notification, just one headline, but suddenly 40 minutes have passed, and you don't even know how you got there. Each one feels small. Each one feels important. Each one feels like an opportunity. But at the end of the day, the most important work you had to do is still sitting there, untouched. And you're left wondering, where did the day go? Here's the thing. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a real opportunity and a distraction that feels like one. So it responds to all of them, right now, every day, without stopping. And the system around you is specifically designed to make everything feel urgent, so that you never truly sit down with a quiet mind and do the thing that actually matters most to you. The second mechanism, the comparison engine. A psychologist named Festinger discovered something deeply uncomfortable about human beings. We always measure ourselves against other people, not because we're weak, but because that's how our minds find their footing. That instinct was built for a small world, where you only ever knew a few dozen people your entire life. Not for a world where millions of people can enter your eyes in a single scroll. And when you keep comparing yourself to what you see out there, your mind never feels like enough. There's always someone more successful, wealthier, happier. There's always a new standard to chase, and without realizing it, you burn through your energy chasing a shadow that was never really there to begin with. The gap between who you are and who you see, that gap is the product. The third mechanism, and this one is the most dangerous. Exhaustion became a status symbol. I only slept 4 hours. I haven't taken a day off in months. I'm always busy. These stopped being complaints. They became badges. A philosopher named Byung-Chul wrote about this simply. We no longer live in a society that controls people through force. We live in a society where people exploit themselves willingly and call it ambition. Now, is ambition wrong? No. What's wrong is when you no longer know who your ambition is actually for, or what it's for. Ambition that is truly yours takes you somewhere you chose, but ambition planted by the system just makes you afraid to stop. Not because you have a destination, but because stopping feels like losing. And that's where the system works most efficiently, when it no longer needs to push you, because you're already pushing yourself. Every day, in your own name. So what do you actually do with all of this? Not a list of tips, not a new morning routine, because honestly, those are still part of the same system. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist who lost everything in a Nazi concentration camp. His family, his freedom, almost everything he had ever known. Inside that camp, he had no control over anything. Whether he ate or not, someone else decided. Whether he lived or died, someone else decided. Everything that could be taken was taken. But there was one thing that no one could ever touch. The way he chose to find meaning in what was happening to him. In the middle of forced labor, he didn't sink into surrender. As a psychiatrist, he observed what was happening to himself and the other prisoners. He created distance between himself and his suffering, not to ignore the pain, but to make sure the pain didn't become the only thing that defined him. And through all of it, he held on to the image of his wife. Her face became the one anchor he had left. Something concrete, something real, something that made tomorrow feel worth facing. He didn't know then that she was already gone. But that image, that single reason, kept him alive. And Frankl noticed something important about the other prisoners. The ones who gave up the fastest were the ones who had lost their reason to hold on. The ones who lasted the longest were the ones who still had something. No matter how small, that made tomorrow feel worth facing. Frankl finally walked out when the war ended, and the camp was liberated. Not because he was physically stronger than everyone else, but because he never let the system take the one last thing that remained. His reason to live. And he wrote it all down in one simple sentence. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. It was never the suffering that destroyed people. It was suffering without meaning. There's a difference between being tired because you consciously chose something that matters, building something important to you, for the people who matter to you, and being tired because the system convinced you that everything is urgent. The first kind of tired builds you. Every drop of energy you give comes back larger than before. The second kind just drains you. You're spent, but you're going nowhere. The question was never how to be more productive. The question is, productive for whom? This video isn't about blaming the system, and it's not about stopping working hard. It's about one simple thing. Awareness. Awareness that your exhaustion is not proof of your weakness. Your exhaustion is proof that you've been walking for too long. inside a wheel that was never going to take you anywhere. And if you want to start stepping outside that wheel, you don't need a grand plan. Just start with one question every morning. What I'm doing today, did I actually choose it? Or does it just feel urgent? That question is simple, but the answer, slowly, will change the way you choose. Not more productive, just more aware of where your energy is actually going. When was the last time you felt tired? From something you genuinely chose? If that answer didn't come quickly, the system has been working perfectly. Or, if you don't have the space to think about that right now, that's okay. Let this question walk quietly at the back of your mind, like a song you didn't realize you were listening to, until suddenly you find the answer. If this video felt like a conversation you've been needing for a while, you're not alone.